the last 500 years, in which the trusted third parties, banks and governments, conspire to loot us and destroy civilization. And what destruction has been? Every great movement in history has been subverted by the power of banks and governments cooperating together to loot the public. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. Without end, the endless cycles has led to so much human suffering and subverted every glorious thing that had ever happened. The American Revolution would have been a beautiful thing, but for the inflation. The French Revolution probably would have worked out just fine, were it not for the inflation. There would have been no World War I. There would have been no World War II. If governments had to fund the wars for themselves through taxation, they never would have done it. There probably wouldn't have been a war of 1812. There probably wouldn't have been a Spanish-American War. There probably wouldn't have been a civil war at all. There would have been a very strong incentive for these two regions to figure out some solution to their problem besides just loot the public and destroy the money. It would have changed the whole human history. And when you look back at the history of monetary policy and its relationship to despotism and tyranny and destruction and Holocaust and mass murder, it is absolutely frightening and terrifying to realize just how closely linked these institutions are. And if we could do a conjectural history of the last 500 years without the institution of these third-party conspiracies between banks and governments, how different would it be? How much more peaceful and prosperous and beautiful would the world be without this problem? This core problem has been at the very center of the development of the modern age. That's how significant it is. When that first Genesis blog came out in January of 2009, it changed history forever. It makes us look back with like profound regret. What if we had had this in the past? How different everything would have been. It makes me sad, and it's devastating to think. But look, there's no sense of regret. What we need to do is look forward to the future. And that future is happening. And it's changing everything. What it's doing, here's what it's doing. It's restoring money as individual property. It's restoring money as a private property of us, as individuals, and enabling us and empowering us as individuals, not members of nation states, not as citizens, not as subjects, not as pawns on the chessboard owned by somebody else, but as individuals, to trade with each other and cooperate together all over the world. It's the most non-exclusionary technology in the world today. Because anyone can get involved in it. Anybody with a smartphone, anybody with access to the internet, and that is spreading faster than anything else on the planet today, can become an owner. What does it mean to become an owner? Or to be a potential owner? It means that you can dig deep within your human spirit, find the talents that you have, and offer them to the world in exchange for which you get value as an individual. That is unbelievable. Without asking anyone's permission, without having to crawl to the bank. I was just this afternoon, I had the most wonderful